What is specific heat? Automatically, I should be thinking, hey, this is what I want to find. Do either of these two equations tell me that that's what I'm going to find? Well, this one right here says specific heat on the left, and it equals this, right? This says specific heat is this right here. And this is what I want to find. Well, that means that I have to find all three of these terms in here. I have to find heat, mass, and delta T means change in temperature, right? Now, let's see if we can do this. Where is heat?
275 joules.
And how do you know it's 275 joules? Because joules is the unit of heat, right? That's all. It ain't that hard, is it? If you know joules and calories are heat, well then that's heat, isn't it? Okay. Here's the easy one. What's the mass?
24.8.
How do you know that? Because it's grams, and that's the units of mass, right? See what we learned a couple weeks ago? All right, now we got one more term, delta T. Where are we going to find delta T? Well, we got two temperatures up there. Which one are we going to use? We're going to subtract them because delta T is the change in temperature. So we're going to subtract these two. See how you look at a problem? All right, so heat or specific heat equals 275 joules over 24.8 grams. And I'm just going to write both of these in. 24.5 minus 20.2 degrees C. Wow, that's horrible writing, but okay. And how many joules do we come out with? And that's not just joules, we're the units that we come out with right over here. The units are still joules per gram degree C. None of these units cancel, do they?
No.
So how many joules per gram degree C is this?
47.7.
I'm so low.
2.58 makes sense. You gotta do subtraction, multiply it by that, write it down, and take this and divide it by your denominator, right? Make sure you do it in the right order. What's inside here, you gotta do that first, multiply by that, then divide the two. So you get 2.58.
Wait, I thought it would be 260.
Oh, it actually should be. You're right. Yeah, but when I do 24.5 minus 20.2, 4.3 degrees C, that's only 2. We haven't done any problems where we mix adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. So I wasn't too worried about sig figs right here, but yeah, it should be 2, technically. Technically, you're right, it should be 2. So you did learn something in 151. Look at you. 2.6. If you had 2.58, I wouldn't kill you. On mastering, it'll probably give you some error like you're not wrong, but you're not right either, right? It doesn't take an attempt away.
No,
that just means you got to check your sig figs. That's what it'll do at this point, right?
So is the unit joules over
Joules over grams degrees C.
Celsius the
Yep.
proper for specific heat? It
Yep.
doesn't have a unit.
It has 3 units for specific heat, right? Or you could convert this
gravity
to.
where there is no unit.
That's right,
Okay.
different. You could convert this to calories, right? Using 4.184. You could change it to calories if you wanted to. So if the problem asked you for calories, you would change it, right? Right? You just convert it to get to calories. If you can read any of that. All I'm doing is changing joules to calories. Right? We've been doing that for 3 weeks now. You can do that. Okay.
On a good day.
Hopefully. Hopefully. All right, let's do another problem. This is kilojoules. I want to answer in kilojoules. Remember, we had two equations. You got to remember which one to use now. You're not trying to calculate specific heat anymore, are you? Trying to calculate heat. So that must mean that you know specific heat, right? Where you'll find specific heat at. Unity right there. Table 3.11 in the book. Okay. Page 74. Quiet. You know, quiet. Hey, you know you are allowed to talk to people sitting around you about how to do the problem and stuff. Y'all know that? You don't like each other? You don't like her? Why? We want to talk with each other. Y'all know your friends in here are like wonderful resources, right? You're allowed to work with each other. You know you're allowed to work on homework together and stuff. The quizzes, you can't. But well, the quizzes, because what happens with the quizzes, I randomize a question. So like you'll be on question 1, she might be on question 5. So you can't ever work together like that. But the homework, you're more than welcome to work together. I encourage it. No.
That's what the calculator said.
I love it. That's what the calculator said. Yeah. What are the units on this number right here? Well, okay.
I see what I used. I should have used this one.
Good. But what are the units here? I think it's yeah. I think it's right, but that's still not the final answer. What's the final answer?
See, that tricked me up. You gotta write it down to like 3 numbers and it's 5. And
It's not even. I'm not even asking about sig fig. I'm asking to get the right units that I asked you for. That's right. Good.
Okay, would that be, like, I know that was revised, but that would be what I have to remember.
You're close. Now, what are the units that you have right here? All right, look, everybody's getting to this point right here. I'm going to do no more because most people are at the same place. So most of you now recognize that heat equals mass times specific heat times delta T, right? So let's put those numbers in there. What's my mass? 100 grams. What's my specific heat? 4.184. And what are the units? Joules over grams degrees C. Now look, already grams cancels. If you're not writing the units on here, then you're going to get these problems wrong. Okay? You got to know how these units work. Now what's delta T? Triangle T means change in temperature, right? And it is 70 degrees Celsius. what units am I left with now? Joules. And how many joules do I have right now? 29,280. And I want kilojoules.
Divide by
1,000 joules is 1 kilojoule.
Why is it three significant figures?
Because I just want it to be 3 sig figures. Technically, it probably should only be 2, I guess. I'm worried about the problem, not sig figs right here. If we made it 2, it would be what? 29 kilojoules. Now, like I said in the other class, because they were like, oh, remember about kilo and all that stuff? That was way back when. Look, this is chemistry class. That's not how we work. You don't learn stuff in chapter 2 and then forget it because you're never going to need it again. You learn stuff in chapter 2 because you're going to need it again in chapter 3 and 4 and 7 and 9 and over again, okay? I know. That's the way this class works.
What is the trick to getting the conversion? Is it just practice, or is there some key there?
What do you mean, to getting what conversion?
Just understanding how to solve a problem.
Well, in this case, it's a heat problem. You understand it's a heat problem. And I gave you 2 equations today, okay? This isn't just a dimensional, you can think about this as dimensional analysis because it tells me that I get the right answer in joules, which is heat. But I gave you 2 equations today. One of them was to find the specific heat, the other one was to find the total amount of heat. This problem asks how much heat. So that means heat equals something. You have to be able to read the question and decide what's it asking for. This is asking for heat, isn't it? So I'm going to use that equation that says heat equals something. And hopefully I know all those other terms over there.
So the formulas themselves, I mean, there's many for different, from temperature to whatever.
I haven't given you that many formulas. Temperature conversions was a formula, and these 2 are the other formulas. Those are the only formulas I've given you guys. Right? Students are often afraid chemistry is full of formulas. So it's not. I've given you temperature conversions and now these 2 formulas. And actually these 2 formulas are the same formula, just rearranged, but I know for you guys it's 2 different formulas because you don't see it. Okay? I'm okay with that.
But we have to memorize each, we need to know them.
You would need to know this, yes. Yep. Must know. So in your notes, put a little star next to these 2 equations. Gotta be able to use them. Right? They're in the homework. See, that's what the homework's designed to do, is to help you learn these things, right? You'll see that there's several problems with heat like this. I have to do them, right? Now, in the other class, they asked me to do one more like this. So y'all want one more kind of like this?
Well,
494. And solve for the unknown. That one's hard.
that's really hard. I mean,
It's not that hard. I mean, I can do it. But...
It's hard for those of us who don't do it.
All right.
Can I ask you why was the difference in the water? I used the wrong calculating, the wrong specific heat.
You use the one in calories. The problem asks,
And it says in it says, it's got 2 columns. It says you can choose calories or joules. Now,
That's
I
right.
used the one on the bottom, there's 2 water.
that's because, all right, that's a good question. Everybody look at your table. Look at the one on the bottom versus the one right above that.
The S stand for.
What does the S stand for versus the L? Solid. Were we heating up ice?
I didn't know it was,
No, we had liquid water. Room temperature is liquid water, right?
I just didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, I mean solid versus
Okay.
liquid. Because ice has a different specific heat than liquid does.
Okay.
Okay?
No, I did it right. I just used the
Ooh,
wrong.
I don't like writing in red. Who likes red? Oh, Yeah, let's do kilojoules again. KJ.